Vega. Hello.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. It's WAN show time again, my friends. And also all of you people who are watching, because, you know, let's face it. You and I are the one. No, I'm saying that we're friends.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying we're not. You're just.
But they're internet friends.
Yes, they're internet friends, but that is totally a different classification.
Jake calls me an internet friend.
Does he really?
He does.
Even though you actually are in the same building as each other,
Literally.
at least like 4 to 6 hours a day.
And the first time I met him was in person.
Right.
Yeah.
No, he's wrong. So an internet friend, we can actually define this fairly easily. An internet friend, to me, is someone that you had to meet first online.
Okay.
Okay. And that you've only seen in person either once, or if the additional times you've seen them in person were because you happened to be traveling to get there anyway.
Okay.
Is that fair?
So like a con or something?
Yes.
Like like you met them at a convention a while ago.
Or you met them online.
Or yeah, okay. Yeah. And then, we both happen to go to PAX.
Yes.
I see them at PAX once a year.
They're still an internet friend.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
You got any other sort of ways to define what an internet friend is?
No, I think that's pretty good. I think you could meet them in person first still.
Really?
Yeah, because like for instance, there was at Vancouver.
Okay.
I met a dude who's sitting right next to me.
Do you have to meet them somewhere techie? Can I just jump in with that?
I think that would help a lot.
Okay.
Okay. But I think it has to do with like the percentage of interaction. So I met this dude at Vancouver.
Okay.
We only started talking on the last day. And pretty much all that happened was I was like, "Hey, what's that game that you're playing?" And he's like, "It's this." And I was like, "Oh," and it ended up being a multiplayer game. And I was like, "It looks pretty cool. Maybe I'll get it." And he was like, "Sure, I'll play with you. Add me on Steam." Never talked to him at all outside of that interaction in person, and then only talked to him online for like years past that.
Okay, so I think you're pretty safely internet friend zone with that guy.
Yeah.
Now, let me hit you with a different one. So, met someone at Bible camp.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm there for like a week.
But see, that's I think that's one of the differentiators. This isn't necessarily a techie thing that you're talking about, but you're kind of locked in this situation.
Yeah.
You committed to go here.
Yes, I had to be there.
You're staying there
you
for
actually
duration.
Can't leave.
Yeah.
Not allowed.
Yeah. Not even just the payment thing.
It's in like Hope. So
you're not. There's nowhere to go, anyways.
The thing about the British Columbian city of Hope.
Your only hope
is that the name's a little ironic. So I meet a girl at camp, and we only talk like a few times.
This one time?
But then we exchanged, no, not like that. But then it was Bible camp, okay?
Doesn't she say Bible camp?
No, band camp.
Yeah.
So we exchange MSN because that's what we had.
Dude, I miss MSN.
In those days.
Oh, MSN was so good.
We spent the next year MSNing constantly, but didn't see each other for an entire year. Okay? Then, after the following year Bible camp, we start dating. Is she, because it develops into something else, is she still an internet friend for that first year?
See, okay, this is even more wild, because I've only ever actually thought of the concept as, because these are what my friends do, I've only thought of the concept as internet friend as gamers.
Right.
Because anyone that I had like extended conversations with that we weren't gaming was like people that went to my school, so they were definitely real life friends, because I saw them daily.
Got it.
Right? So I think that is a real-life friend that transitioned to an internet friend that transitioned to a girlfriend that is a real-life person.
Okay. That's a lot of transitions.
I think you guys flip-flopped a little bit.
Okay.
I think there was some flopping.
Okay. Got it. Internet friend flopping. Do the friend flop.
Yeah.
Well, that's awkward. That was really not where I was going with that. So we got a great show for you guys today, contrary to what you might think from having witnessed that intro to it.
The best show.
Main news topics: AMD RX Vega specs leaked.
Wow, surprising.
So this is the gaming version of Vega. Number 2. Wow, is it just all AMD news?
No one saw that coming.
The Ryzen 5 1600 becomes the second best-selling CPU on Amazon.
That's actually pretty cool, though.
Can we give a round of applause to AMD
Congratulations.
for like building a thing that people think is bomb?
Heck yeah.
All right. Although, this is kind of a part 2 of that news story, the rumor has officially been squashed. AMD taking 10% market share from Intel is not a thing. And
Tesla's building the world's biggest lithium-ion battery in South Australia, but the Germans are building an even bigger battery, but that's not going to be ready for like quite a while Elon Musk's version, I think, is going to be ready pretty soon.
And the format dictates that we should have 4 main news topic callouts, but I have to call this one out. Canadian porn mega site Pornhub becomes interactive with a new series of videos, so you'll pretty much never have to leave the house again.
Yeah.
Is sort of where that might be heading. All right then, let's launch the intro and get into it. I had no idea that Pornhub was Canadian. Are they really?
Me neither. Yeah, they are. I even looked it up on Wikipedia. Careful with that search now.
No, I'm okay. Now hold on a minute. Let's get the sponsor stuff out of the way.
Thank you, Savage Jerky, Freshbooks.
Yeah, Savage Jerky and Need for Seed. Okay, so now let's do kind of 10 steamboats to make sure that the sponsors checking to make sure we did that aren't still watching.
Gotta have a wee bit of a buffer,
yeah.
you know?
You know, we could pretend to launch into a topic about the high-tech thing that's in this box, blah, blah.
It's highly related to this plus
highly related to that. Look at this. That goes in there. Boom.
Done.
Okay, I think we've waited long enough.
Congratulations.
Okay, so Linus's screen. So Pornhub Canadian. The first thing, obviously, is Canadian porn videos.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can watch Canadians and Canadian babes and Canadian amateurs, Canadian girls. That's
Canadian
a bad word.
Bleeps.
Today I learned that Pornhub is a Canadian company. This is Reddit. It should be okay. 1 second. I am 18 plus, but I don't know for a fact that you guys are.
It goes to Wikipedia.
And
okay.
Here we go. Okay. It's Wikipedia, launched and headquartered in Montreal. Go figure. And here, I learned something else today. Montreal is the 3rd largest porn-producing city in the world after LA and Amsterdam.
Wow, I had no clue at all. I love how the first response to that. So proud of my city.
How about that?
Good job.
Okay, anyway, let's get into some tech topics here first. So this was originally posted by Mr. Troll on the forum, and the source for this one is WCCF Tech, so take it with a grain of salt as usual.
It looks sick. I'm just gonna drop that in there real quick. I really like this new design.
That looks a lot better than the Frontier Edition.
It does.
I love the blacked out PCI Express bracket. It's little touches like that make a big difference. And actually, this logo, I really didn't like it. Black on blue. But red on black.
Really sick like this. Honestly, the whole time it has just reminded me of Descent.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
See, I could see how you could go kind of scary eyes on it.
Yeah.
But without being too overtly that.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's kind of got like a Batman the Animated Series kind of vibe to it too.
I think it brings a little bit of the fun back to like how graphics cards get to look.
Yeah,
because lately it's just been like.
Well, the only high-performance graphics cards that have existed have been NVIDIA's.
And they're gray.
And sometimes they're black.
Yes.
Correct. They're gray except when they're black, and also you get a green lighting accent. Ooh, don't leave green!
But and they look sharp, but it's been the same thing for a really long time. And I understand that it looks gaudy and is objectively worse. But I kind of sometimes miss the old days when you'd have the art on the graphics card.
Shut up.
Because it was fun.
You can miss it.
It was fun.
You can miss it in a nostalgic way, but you would not put that in your system today. Admit it now.
We should make a cringe build.
No. Admit it.
We should make a cringe build.
I'm not letting you change the subject. Admit it. You would not put that in your system today.
I would.
No, you would. No, you wouldn't.
I would.
No, you wouldn't.
Upgrade me to 1080 Ti's. I'll do it.
No, they don't. There aren't even any. There's nothing that bad anymore.
Skin it.
There is nothing that bad anymore.
Get D-Brand to skin it.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can find some examples
should skin graphics cards.
I'm sure they've looked into it at some point. Okay.
Okay, not that.
But this is what we're talking about.
But like,
this
but
is
not
the kind of crap that used to be on high-end cards.
Okay, but pull me back out.
Pink, camo, and like some.
Why are these all the same thing? Did you look up this?
Yeah, I looked up this specific card because it's hilarious.
Okay, this
That's fine.
But it's like there's like sparks coming off of it, and it looks ridiculous.
Yeah, but that's fine. That's not like stupid. Like let's find some Gainward video cards.
I like the like.
Okay, they're pretty cool now.
Those all look fine.
Okay, no, but let's go back to like 8800, Gainward 8800s. Like, look at this. What? It looks like.
What is that?
It looks like WWE Buddha or something.
It looks like
what
someone
is that?
literally changed their mind on what they were drawing many times, and then we're just like, yeah, it's fine.
Just forget it.
It's okay.
You know
Post
what?
it.
Screw it. I'm not getting paid that much to do this anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, no, you would not be putting that jank bull crap in your system.
It's all about performance, man.
All right, so let's talk about some RX Vega specs here. It's going to be shipping with a core clock of around 1630 megahertz. So at what point does this happen? People were hating on me so hard for the Vega reality check on last week's WAN show.
I'm not surprised.
Like,
we knew that.
This is the professional card, so it doesn't indicate about the gaming card things. Like, that's like comparing an NVIDIA Quadro to a GeForce in games. Which you can do, and they perform the same.
Da-dum. Surprising.
There are some fair points. There are some features that are not yet enabled on the Frontier Edition card. I had hesitated for a sec. I almost called it Founders Edition. Yeah, there are some features that aren't enabled on the Frontier Edition card. And they are gaming features. But what I said on the show, if you actually listen, is that it's not going to be making up the performance delta to give AMD a legitimate top-tier competitor. It's not going to get faster enough to take on the 1080 Ti. I don't see that realistically happening. And something you guys have to understand as well is that NVIDIA is just toying with them at this point. They are showing Volta hardware. And if they have big Volta, you don't have to think too critically to look back and go, well, whenever they've got working hardware of a given new architecture, the other size dies are only as far behind as the team tweaking and altering and finalizing them takes. That's how far behind Volta hardware is. So by the time you can actually buy an RX Vega, NVIDIA's sitting there going, okay, do we launch in, 2 months? Or like, do we start announcing? Do we start teasing to kill the hype train a little bit? Or do we have a year to sit and milk Pascal while we take all our Volta and we send it into the supercomputing space? To be clear, it's not like I'm rooting for NVIDIA here. People misunderstand me a lot of the time. It's just that I can take things that we know and extrapolate based on other things that we can guess or that were historically true and make an educated guess, even if I don't have the hardware in hand.
This is why we've theorized in the past about being able to make a video about a graphics card before it comes out and how accurate that would actually be. And honestly, we keep joking about making it, but if we did, I don't think it would be a very valuable piece of content, and we'd get trashed on for making it, so there's no real point.
So we're not going to do it.
No.
But there are times when we'd have been pretty damn close.
Very. Freakishly close.
Like with one piece of information. Like if all we knew was price.
Yeah.
Putting together believable performance graphs based on everything else that we know.
Pretty solid. And one thing that I did for the 1080 launch was I went around and I asked creators what they thought the price would be, or no, what they thought the hardware would be in it, and what they thought the price would be ish, and how they thought the performance would be ish. And other than the surprise of SMP, it was pretty accurate. It was pretty close. Within $100 every time, within a pretty tight performance metric every time.
Okay, so I see a little bit of discussion in Twitch chat about how we tried to do that with the Ryzen 5. We did.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah.
Our Ryzen 5 numbers were bang on, and all the stress and upset that people had about some of the cores being on one CCX and some of them being on another one ended up being a non-factor when it came to anything other than a few specific benchmarks, most of which were synthetic. So you can guess a lot. Anyway, sorry, I will finish talking about the specs. 8 gigs of HBM2 memory, which is freaking incredible, but also terrifying. So it's incredible because HBM2 is coming to a AI supercomputing card.
Yeah.
But terrifying because it's not going to be cheap, and I do worry about RX Vega being price competitive if it's going to be shipping with such expensive memory.
Yeah.
So that'll total 484 gigabytes of memory bandwidth. Alrighty then. And the rumored 3D Mark 11 performance score has RX Vega at 31,800, about 4,000 ahead of the GTX 1080, and about double the score of the GTX 1070. That doesn't seem right. I didn't think there was that big of a difference between the 1070. I mean, mind you guys, this is a synthetic benchmark, and it has the 1080 Ti maintaining a commanding lead with over 38,000 points. The rumored cost would be $600. So right now, it's hard to talk about graphics card pricing.
Yeah, exactly what I was just going to say. 1080 Ti on Amazon.com looks like it's about $900 to $950. 1080 Ti on Newegg right here looks like it's about $750 plus, maybe a little bit, depending on what version you get.
They do have stock, so it looks like miners are not buying these very high-end cards at least. In-stock limit 2 per customer. So if it can come in within spitting distance of the 1080 Ti at $600, then at least AMD is looking like they could have a performance competitive product, though we still don't know necessarily anything about how async compute is going to shake down, what Vulkan and DirectX 12 performance in real games is going to look like. We still don't know much about how it's going to size up power consumption, so like performance per watt wise, although that doesn't look very promising.
It might also just like barely matter because I suspect this price isn't going to stay the same at all.
Right.
Because AMD cards right now are better
for mining.
So they're just all going to vanish. That's kind of my expectation. We'll see.
Yeah.
The mining thing is starting to cool down a little bit. It's still pretty crazy as far as I can tell, but it is starting to cool down a little bit. So we'll see by the time this actually drops how much impact it'll have in regards of that, blah, 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 blah. But yeah.
All right. So this was originally posted by Price and on the forums. It's a little bit more Vega news before we move on. AMD's Raja Kaduri confirms RX Vega die size at 484 millimeters squared. So that's pretty darn big. That's a big GPU. We actually covered this in a little bit more depth in our NVIDIA GPUs through the ages, as well as, did we do AMD GPU? Yeah, we did both of them. We did both AMD and NVIDIA GPUs through the ages, and I'm trying to pull that up right now, but there have only been a handful of GPUs that have been bigger than about 500 millimeters squared. So, for some reason, it's prompting me for credentials here. That is very, very annoying. So I can't look it up other than to like load up the video right now. But what that tells us is that AMD was, if die size is anything to go on, and a lot of the time it can be, because it tells us sort of how expensive the GPU is, and therefore what price band they're probably hoping to target with the finished product, and therefore what performance they think that they're probably going to have to compete with. So that tells us that AMD maybe didn't think that they were going for unprecedented performance like they would have with something like the R600. So that was the 2900 XT. But hopefully I can find Yeah, I think this is going to be too hard to find live right now. But it tells us that they were legitimately going for something pretty darn high end. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't find my my die size graph with all of them on it, but that's okay.
It's a lot of graphs, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of graphs in this video, so there's just not a lot I can do about that. Oh, I hope I'm not. Yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
You're good.
Okay, so here we go. This is part 1 of 2 of this next topic. This was posted by nobody on the forum. So this was an article over on Tom's Hardware. And the Ryzen 5 1600 skyrockets to number 2 on Amazon. And while this isn't a 100% indication of, how many of them are out there, Passmark submissions have increased, telling us that people are out there buying AMD Ryzen CPUs, which is great news, even though this is after Intel's reactionary move with the 7740 and the 7640.
Yeah. And the
incredible.
The Passmark thing, that's obviously only going to be rather hardcore people, but being number 2 on Amazon is very transparent. Build your own PC, people, for the most part. But with that said, we actually have a review unit coming in of an all AMD entry-level gaming rig from Dell. Okay, that's interesting.
Right?
Yeah. Because once you get partners like that on board, that makes it a lot more mainstream too.
Dell's the kind of company that sells boxes to people who aren't necessarily looking at the real-world performance in benchmark X and, real-world application Y.
They just want to buy a thing and have it play a game.
And they're looking for appealing specs. And that's something that AMD did really, really well with Ryzen, is they not only delivered something that performs well in the benchmarks, but they delivered something that looks great on paper.
Sounds good.
This one has 8 processing cores and 16 threads.
Even if you don't understand what that means, sounds like a lot.
It's a lot. It's double.
That's a high number.
What the comparably priced Intel one would be.
Yeah.
That is fantastic synergy, to use the probably the word they used. Synergy between the marketing team and sales team and engineering team.
Marketing, sales, and engineering solutions.
Yeah. So you got to give them full credit for that.
And having worked selling computers before, it totally works.
Oh yeah.
And you might even be like, this one is better, and someone will read the numbers on the sheet and be like,
I don't care.
You're trying to upsell me. Yeah. You're a jerk.
You're probably getting a commission for pushing that one.
Yeah, because this one says it has more numbers. And it's
then the frustrating thing is that they could be right a lot of the time. I was always the sales guy that was I would upsell. But I would upsell because people would walk in wanting to buy an Athlon 64 3500 plus or 3700 plus or whatever. I think the 3700 plus was an FX.
I worked with a different clientele, so I was often downselling.
Right.
Yeah.
So they would walk in and they would want a high-end single core. And I'd be like, whoa, hold on. Okay. For $100 more, and you're already spending $500. For $100 more, I want you to buy this. It's an entry-level dual core. You're gonna like it. And they'd be they'd come in the next week and they'd be getting a new keyboard or something, be like, holy crap, I am so glad that you sold me that and that I spent the extra $100. My buddy has this one, because they'd be buying whatever their friend had or whatever. It runs circles around it. He can't even believe it. He's going to be in next week to buy one. And I'm like, yeah, dog, that's what's up.
That's cool.
And I always liked people getting a good value, even if I didn't necessarily get them a cheap price. Because that, to me, is what spending your money smartly is about not having to replace something 9 months or 12 months from now when you could have spent an extra $100 now to keep it for 2 or 3 years.
And there's there's some impossible metrics there. I hate it when someone will come in and ask hey, I get questions about this with my 2600K all the time.
Yeah.
I had my 2600K for a super long time. I was streaming with it, doing all this other kind of stuff. And they're like, hey, I just bought this processor. Is this going to last me as long as your 2600K lasted you? And I'm like, man, that is way too big of a time frame
it's like
for me to tell you yes or no.
I can't give you the right answer to the wrong question.
Yeah, like this isn't.
You know,
I really can't do this. I don't know. What if like randomly
VR
some crazy new technology
shows up?
Yeah, and unlike VR, it actually like really super catches on. And everyone's doing it, and
burn!
And like only processors within the last 2 generations are able to do it because they have some weird technology on die, and yours doesn't have it. And you're now pissed at me because I said you'd be good for that long. Like I really can't do that. But like there are certain things that are rather obvious. Like, hey, dual cores just came out, and look, they're like way better at basically everything than single cores are.
But still, the single most expensive computer component that I ever bought for myself was an Athlon 64 4400 Plus on launch.
Yeah.
Like before we were talking about things being like business expenses.
Yeah.
And I also, you could probably argue the 2 7900 GTXs that I bought at the same time, but...
That's 2 products.
It's 2 products. And I got those, I had them less than a week. Because I bought them used off a guy who was flipping them. And who was just like, he was moving to Crossfire. At the time, Crossfire was bad. So he was going to Crossfire. And I got them from him for like $100 below market value each. And then I flipped them for what they were worth. So I had them for like a week. Just to tool around with them, just to bask in what it was like to run a top-of-the-line SLI gaming setup. And, like, you know, even though I was following all the rumors and everything like that, the used market, hardware values are not the same as the retail market. They're affected by things like rumors.
Yep.
So as soon as a rumor dropped that something else was coming, I knew that $200 was going to be dropped off the value of those, each of them instantly. So I was like holding on to them like this. I was like, I got to get rid of these things. But that didn't stop me from like playing Far Cry and stuff.
Yeah. Far Cry 1?
Yeah, dog.
Oh man.
Oh
that game
man.
was crazy.
It was a great game. It was like, there were things that like really irked me about it. Like the fact that...
Oh, it had problems.
There were organic creatures that you could hit like 6 times with a rocket launcher and they wouldn't die. And like rocket ammo was like every game, like was pretty limited. Like if I'm carrying around rocket launcher ammo, like let me use it.
Have fun with it a little bit.
Yeah, like it should leave a gaping crater the size of, you know, a freaking football helmet in the side of this thing, at least.
Yeah.
You know? Anyway, sorry, we are not staying on topic very well here.
That's probably fine.
In other news, AMD's R7 1700 is in 4th place as well. With that said, this was originally posted by Rev Silverspine on the forum. The rumor that AMD managed to gain 10.4 percentage points of CPU market share in the second quarter of 2017 is a little misleading because the data is from a self-selected survey. And they're putting it very mildly here. So the original article is from Seeking Alpha here. AMD customers are more likely to self-report on AMD's increased sales and market share. Really? AMD customers. I mean, to be clear, any fan of any company is likely to self-report at a rate that's higher than the actual numbers would be. But how do I put this lightly? AMD fans, you guys are very enthusiastic about AMD. Moving on.
Which is good. That's good.
Yeah, we need arguments on the internet.
More of them, at least, you know?
Yes. We need at least AMD versus Intel, AMD versus NVIDIA, AMD versus
Power.
Other AMD.
Yeah.
And AMD versus just Cyrix. All right. Tesla to build the world's biggest lithium-ion battery in South Australia. This was posted by Disatexubo 11S? What kind of name is that? On the forum, the original article is from abc.au. So, the headline there is pretty self-explanatory, but basically the point is that they're promising to build it in 100 days, or it'll be free, and this world's largest lithium-ion battery will be able to store energy, or will be used to store energy from a nearby wind farm.
And it's like the free thing, it would cost them $50 million.
Yeah. So basically,
kind of a big deal.
Musk has issued a challenge to his own company to build it in a reasonable amount of time or eat the cost of it, which will be like huge PR either way, I guess. But
I think that's part of the point. Is I'm pretty sure he's sure that he can do it, and this is a marketing stunt essentially for other countries. Not necessarily other people, but for other countries.
Yeah.
To be like, look, we can beef up your infrastructure super fast, and like, this is how confident we are.
And to be clear, this is a risk on both sides, because this is basically this is like a bet. It's if I can build it in 100 days, you pay for it. And if I go over the time limit,
I'll pay for it. Yeah.
Wow.
Which is pretty wild.
So this is a crazy stunt for him to get this tech out there on a much larger scale than something like a home-based battery where, sure, you're able to take advantage of off-peak grid power and then use it during peak hours, save some money, blah, 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 blah. No, now we're talking about taking energy that was stored while it was windy and using it once the wind dies down. Very freaking cool. So South Australia has been battling power problems since a statewide blackout in September 2016, and this could really change the way that renewable energy is stored. So, very cool. But, and we've got another two-parter here, the original article here is from batteriesinternational.com. The Germans have announced that they will be building the world's biggest battery in underground caverns, which makes it like even cooler because it's like the battery cave.
Oh
yeah,
wow.
I went there.
Did you come up with that on the spot?
Yeah, dog.
Pre-prepped. Oh, that's pretty good.
Thank you.
To be fair, okay, Musk's is apparently going to take him 100 days. This crazy battery cave battery is going to be done by the end of 2023.
But it'll be 700 megawatt hours compared to just 100.
It's like a small anchor battery.
Yeah, it's like
but it's in a cave. Yes.
But it is the German one. It will work better than the others.
We opened up an old bunker and just threw it in.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Outrageous.
Oh, we should do our sponsor spots.
Well, that's probably a solid idea.
Sponsors for today's WAN show. Number one is Freshbooks /LTX, because Freshbooks is our sponsor for LTX. Freshbooks is pretty much the way to go. If you're a small business owner or a freelancer and you're looking to keep yourself organized, get paid faster, and save time so you can spend your time fixing computers or teaching dance classes or working on people's plumbing, rather than spending your time tooling around with overly complicated accounting software that literally actually requires an accounting program in order to operate.
Yeah.
Literally. Actually requires. FreshBooks also comes with you on the go, so you can load up all the same features on your smartphone, whether it's Android or iOS, and you can take pictures of receipts to track your expenses, track your hours, and even create invoices in just seconds to send to your clients. So check it out over at freshbooks.com/WAN and claim your free trial today. You can try it for 30 days before committing. And enter Linus Tech Tips in the How You Heard About Us section. I am so freaking hungry. You know what? No, let's do Need for Seat first.
Okay.
Need for Seat, makers of the Maxnomic line of chairs that you've probably seen featured on Linus Tech Tips many, many times, especially in my office. So I actually love that chair.
Yeah.
They now have a new service for their chairs. Now, instead of just having... See, you spoiled it. You suck. Instead of just having a Maxnomic logo embroidered, you can now have bam, your name, which would have come in handy a lot of times around here with for all the times that people have taken my chair. I actually have a label on it. It says, Linus chair, do not steal.
Didn't it happen today with this one, even though it's embroidered?
Yes, it did. So maybe it's not the solution.
It's easier to track down, though.
Maybe it's not the solution to that particular problem. So people being jackasses is not something that embroidery can solve. But at least you can have like a BA multicolored embroidery thing on your chair. It's freaking cool. They've got tons of different chairs, something for everyone. And they've got a preview tool that allows you to see what it's going to look like on the chair. They've got outstanding customer service, and I can speak for the quality of the products. I've been using mine for over 2 years now.
Me too.
Since I did my first review. And
mine's a Maxomic too.
Other than my cheap Costco jeans staining the seat blue a little bit, it looks like the day I got it.
Yeah.
Like, I love my chair.
Yeah.
So head over to needforseat.com and check out their new embroidery service today, leading us to our last sponsor.
Which apparently, I've seen multiple people in the chat actually asking for this one to be on the show, because I think it's entertaining when we eat hot things.
All right,
also,
I think it's my turn.
It's your turn.
I hate you. Yeah, no, I'm eating some delicious stuff first.
Okay, that's
Now
fair.
get into it.
That's fair.
Savage Jerky is made with the best ingredients, without nitrates or preservatives. The goal was to create a snack that was full of flavor and spice, but wasn't bad for you. The inspiration comes from the flavor of garlic, lime, and cilantro, because it brings out the flavor in premium beef. My personal favorite is the maple buffalo bacon, which I think we're out of, because I just eat the entire pack every time we do a spot. But if you're into spicy, man, do they ever have a lot of options. What are you going to hit me with this week?
You had me try.
Man, this one's good. I love the cracked pepper and sea salt. Honestly, I thought it was pretty good at first. Now, I actually like this one almost as much as the maple.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I'm putting it over on this side.
So you had me try
ghost pepper.
The ghost pepper because you thought it was hotter than the Reaper. So I'm actually and I tried it and it wasn't that bad. So I'm gonna leave it up to you. You can go with the one that is listed as hotter and I think is hotter, or you can go with the one that is not listed as hotter and you think is hotter.
Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do both.
Okay.
I'm gonna settle this.
See, I was thinking about that, but I didn't want to put that on you.
No. I saw where you were going.
Yeah.
No. Don't think that just because you beat around the bus that you didn't throw me under it.
All right.
Because you were setting them up. You were setting up their expectations.
A little bit. A little bit.
Okay.
There might have been some minor social engineering going on.
So there's the ghost pepper.
That's a solid piece of jerky right there.
That's a good-looking piece of jerky. That's a terrifying looking piece of jerky.
Yes, it probably
so use offer code LTT and save 10% at www.savagejerky.com. Okay.
Did we send them a message about the challenge pack thing?
I don't think we remembered.
We should.
Okay, so you go ahead. You do our next topic here, and I'm gonna do the. Sorry, I've got some of the other ones stuck in my tooth. Got it. Okay, I don't want to taint it. So I'm gonna do a bite of ghost pepper buffalo sauce first, just to get my taste buds going. Then I'm gonna do one of each. Okay. You go ahead and move on to our next topic.
I also ate a really spicy one, apparently. Wearables are tanking. Jawbone is liquidating its assets. We've kind of seen this coming for a while. Even from your own personal experience, how often is your smartwatch paired with your phone? Just out of an interesting question.
You overheard me talking about this, didn't you?
I did, yeah. But I'm like not even remote. The answer is like almost never, right?
Well, I wouldn't say almost never.
Well, how long has it been?
Here, let me fire up the Engadget source for this one.
I can throw that in the chat.
That's okay, I got it. Jawbone's demise heralds the end of the wearables industry. I think that's a little sensationalist. I don't think that's necessarily...
Little rough?
Yeah.
I think there's still space for...
I think you overheard me talking to Colton.
Yeah.
Because he asked me... Okay, I wasn't expecting to have to talk for this spot. He asked me if I would be comfortable doing a product placement for a non-smartwatch, where I'm just wearing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, He's like, yeah, I know you love the smartwatch. And I'm like, yeah, so let me put it this way. For over 2 weeks, I was wearing an Apple Watch that was paired to my iPhone 6, the one that I only use to listen to music and watch videos in bed. So when I was actually out and about during the day, like I obviously wasn't getting call notifications or text notifications because it doesn't have a SIM in it. And it would only, like, I'd randomly get like a bunch of notifications when I got home. Like, it clearly was not the optimal experience. And it just wasn't even worth the 5 minutes. Like, I like the smartwatch experience. I just switch phones so often that
But it's not that important
I just don't bother, yes.
And, like, as a consumer,
yes,
buying these...
I would buy and I would own one. But if I had an Apple Watch, I wouldn't run out and buy the Gen 2.
So my experience was, because I tried out the Sony Smartwatch 3, I believe it was. And I think I made a video on that quite a while ago.
I'm doing the other one.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So you just survived the Ghost Pepper, right? Which you thought was hotter. Okay. So I tried the Sony Smartwatch 3, I believe it was, quite a while ago, made a video on it, all that kind of jazz. My issue with that was... We had a little thing where, like, if you're reviewing a type of product, you should probably use it. So I held on to that one for a little while. It's now back. But I found myself the need to charge it all the time, and the fact that the charging port was under it and under a silicone thing. So I couldn't just, like, take it off and, like, drop it on a dock. I had to take it off and, like, get under there and probably take it out of its actual band and then remove the silicone thing and plug in the little cable, like... It was just not a very usable experience. And it got to the point where I would rather take it off and leave it. Yeah, see, that one is hotter.
Oh, okay.
See, that one's definitely hotter.
No, hold on, give me a sec. Just let the palate cleanse a little bit.
Okay, all right.
So I still think...
It's tedious. And the thing is, like, that's to make that experience better requires buying a new watch. And then now I'm buying... another watch, and I wasn't really that satisfied with that one. And now it's the current level of watch, and I still don't think it's that great. I think we might get there eventually, but I think we're a few years
So that's exactly
early.
it. I think demise of wearables is a little ridiculous. I just think that wearables aren't going to be the slam dunk, like, next smartphone, like companies like Samsung or maybe even Apple were expecting them to be. Because the experience right now just isn't worth $500 or $600 or $800, like a premium watch.
Yeah.
People feel like is because it's a piece of jewelry. Whereas I do think that there are wearables out there that are more reasonably priced.
Yeah.
That can make sense, and I also think that development will continue, and we will get to the point where the charging thing is a great point. Like, if I misalign my watch and it doesn't charge that night, it doesn't work the next day. That's a pain in the butt. Whereas when wireless charging gets to the point where you just kind of throw all your junk in a bowl at the end of the day, then that's cool.
That's way, 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 way better of experience.
So
it needs to be a lot easier. Right now, I feel like it's kind of a barrier between using things. The charging it is tedious. Making sure it's paired with all your stuff and linked into all your apps right now is tedious. It's not a seamless experience through your phone. Like, there's just too many steps that you have to constantly redo. And it's just not there yet.
To cover the news here, this is just the latest wearable pioneer to throw in the towel. Last year, Pebble sold its assets to Fitbit in a fire sale. As for Fitbit, they're trading at a 52-week low. So Jawbone was actually last valued at $1.5 billion. When they raised $165 million in January 2016. Despite shuttering their business, they still think they're worth a significant amount of money due to pending litigation with Fitbit, but the company has begun the process of liquidating itself, at least in part.
I also think that there's probably too many wearable brands, so I'm not that surprised at this. I'm a little surprised that it's happening to Jawbone, because they've been around for a long time.
And that most of them are just kind of junk from my experience.
Yeah.
I mean, you were going to do... Sorry? Oh, get out of here. Yeah, the Apple Watch, blah, blah, blah. Like, you were going to do a roundup of fitness wearables.
Yeah.
We actually ran out and bought, like, 6 of them.
Super janky, yeah.
But, like, it never happened because...
Well, okay. The real reason why it didn't happen was it just took way too freaking long. Okay, so we wanted to pair with educational institution X.
Yeah, local university.
Yeah, we want to pair with a local university because they have a really cool on-site medical thing where they can, like, use proper equipment to properly test exactly what's going on with your heart. And we didn't want to do it with like just some fitness band, because I wanted absolutely as accurate as I could get, because I wanted this to be an actual thing that people could point at when debating the viability of fitness watches.
Yeah.
And they were interested, but they wanted to launch these videos along with something that they were working on, and then it took them like, they said it was going to take a few months, ended up taking them like 6 months. I still started contacting them, and they were like, okay, well, we're not really launching this thing in the same way as before. We can still work with you on it, but...
How much are you willing to pay us
How much are you willing to pay us? How much are you willing to pay us to use the facility? How much are you willing to pay us to use the consumables? How much are you willing to pay us for our time per person that has to be there? Here's all the people that have to be there. Basically, it wasn't a partnership anymore.
Yeah, they were looking for like a many thousands of dollars paycheck to run this testing that was only existing for the sake of... we weren't going to be making that kind of money on it. Like, no, we were going to make like a couple $100 on AdSense.
And we invested a lot in buying all the watches. Part of the idea of the video was
and we were investing in a video crew and editing and all that stuff that like we bring to the table, and it was going to be exposure for their program. Like they were not being partners about it at all.
And it was supposed to be actually a pro health video, which is why we wanted to work with a health focused institute, because it was supposed to address the idea of people over-exercising. And I know that sounds kind of weird, because that's not usually the problem that exists, but the problem that they were trying to address was rather old people. Right. 80s, 90s-year-old people that were trying to stay fit, and that's awesome, but going too hard at it and stressing out their hearts, like going for very extended bike rides every single day.
Right.
And it was just too stressful on their hearts. But they were looking at these smartwatches and going, oh, I'm still within the training zone.
Right.
But that doesn't, even if that is accurate, which it's, I don't really know if I'm going to say that it is. It still doesn't account for a lot of other things that can be going on with your heart that can be super bad. Even if you're in the training zone, there can be other things going on. But people trust this. I know you've done
a lot of research in terms of heart stuff.
Yes, yeah. But people trust this thing, and they go, oh, it's saying that I'm doing well, therefore everything is going well. But the heart's not as complicated as just as fast as it's going. So people trust this.
Or rather, it's more complicated.
Yeah. And the Fitbit's congratulating them and giving them gamified feedback about how well they're doing when their heart can't take this much stress because they're old and it can't. So we were trying to help address that. Also point at amount of steps that's happening and point at how stupid that is. And we had a really cool shot where we were in a bus in Mexico and my step counter was just going mad because there was all these bumps.
Right.
So that we were going to address how inaccurate these things are, but it just never ended up working out.
Okay, I have the answer. So the Reaper is hotter on the tail end.
Okay.
So it leaves a more extended burn.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas the Ghost Pepper probably has a hotter initial burst.
A little bit of a punch.
But what I'll say is that this is the most of either of them that I've been able to eat in one sitting.
We're gaining tolerance.
Yeah,
I've always
like I've always said in the past, they're delicious.
Yeah.
But I can only handle a bite.
Yeah. Oh wow. Oh, that's a full-size piece and a half now, if you total it all together, right?
I'm feeling good.
That's crazy.
These are freaking delicious.
They are.
They're even better once you're used to it.
We're off the sponsor spot, just in case people are wondering. But yeah.
Man, that's yummy.
So they should offer two different things now. And we should actually contact them about this. There should be the challenge pack.
And the tolerance pack.
And the tolerance pack. And the tolerance subscription, maybe. Where it sends you pick where your start is on the line.
Yeah.
And then it'll send you them the same kind for a month, and then you get upgraded. Up one heat tier, and then it sends you the same kind for a month, and then you get upgraded, and you have to try to
I like it.
Yeah.
All right. So, the original article here is from TechCrunch, and it's finally happened.
Yep.
Pornhub has built-in support for interactive toys. Huh. This is a great meme right here. This image is not related to the text because I don't think TechCrunch is edgy enough to put in an image that is related to the text here.
Maybe not share that one.
So
Source
Canadian
2 was a little bit more lewd.
Oh man, my stomach is still working on it.
But okay, if someone, no one's going to do this, but if someone went back to like the first time that we had a Savage Jerky sponsorship.
Oh yeah, it just about killed me.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's happening. We're getting better.
So Canada's porn mega site Pornhub has launched a new series of videos that sync with the user's interactive sex toy to make it a more intimate experience both visually and physically.
And something that I referenced a little while ago on a WAN show that you weren't here for was that I'm still subscribed to like the Oculus subreddit and stuff like that, and I've seen the percentage of time that a post hits the front page that is about not safe for work topics seems to be, I don't know if this is 100% accurate, but it seems to be, to my perceptions, without diving too far into it, increasing over time as interest in VR decreases. Because the people that are still interested in it, a lot of them are using it for not safe for work stuff. And Pornhub is saying that their VR category is doing very well. And I'm actually not that surprised.
1 million plus views per day.
Yep.
I didn't even think there were that many VR headsets out there.
I mean, sometimes it might take
VR.
more than one video. Who knows?
Fair enough. And I guess it's all in how you define a view.
Yes.
Like if you're just like, okay, yeah, skip the first bit. Oh, it's all right. Yeah, skip to the end. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Is that a view? I don't know.
Probably.
In important terms,
It probably
I think
counts.
so.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I don't really. Yeah.
The Samsung one's not really that interesting.
Okay.
Hackers doing a thing. Oh, this is ridiculous. Original article here from Ars Technica, posted by WM Groom AK. OneDrive has stopped working on non-NTFS drives. Fat disks are no longer supported, and more surprisingly, neither is the new REFS file system. Oh, whoa. Oh, okay. Now, just to be clear, it can still get you. I had a little bit there go down the wrong pipe.
Oh, okay, that's particularly weird.
Ouch. But basically, okay, why don't you do this one?
The OneDrive thing? Okay, yeah, so to continue to use the software, files will need to be stored on an NTFS volume. You saw the error that was on Linus's screen. I'm going to bring it back up. There you go. So it will warn you, say that it must be formatted with NTFS file system. Now, the thing that sucks about that is you're going to have to move all of that stuff off, format your drive, and move it back.
Which is like...
super lame.
Yeah, if you're buying storage space...
Yeah.
That's like safe, so you don't have to have it duplicated.
Because that's the thing, with the like scaled storage infrastructure thing where you have it in like 3 different locations and 2 different formats and blah, 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 blah. You would have to retain that while moving things off of the NTFS systems onto, off of the whatever other systems onto NTFS systems. And what you're probably going to be doing is wanting to keep your current infrastructure and just format it. So you'd be moving it off to something they're going to have to trust. Very likely in the cloud, whether it's AWS or something else, because you don't want to permanently buy all these drives, and then moving all of it back, which is not just tedious, but it's expensive, which is super freaking annoying. I'm going to move us off. Oh, we're already off. So you guys don't have to look at that ad that's now on Linus's screen. Looking back at it, NTFS is the default system for Windows, but people using SD cards to extend the storage on small laptops and tablets and NUCs, that's a big thing right now. So a lot of people that have businessy computers that they mount on the back of monitors, those are commonly NUCs these days. I know a while ago they were all the Zotac, can't remember the name of it right now, but Zotac Z-Box.
Yeah, Z-Box.
But they're commonly NUCs these days, and a lot of people expand the storage on NUCs with SD cards, so...
Yeah, basically it's terrible, and it's yet another reason not to use OneDrive, because Google Drive works.
And people often using storage spaces to manage large redundant storage volumes will often use REFS. Storage spaces is like their own thing.
Yeah. In other news, this was posted by Jamie's Cone on the forum. Red
apparently
announces a phone.
One quick thing before we go there.
Yeah.
Apparently the company's position is that OneDrive should always have warned about these usage scenarios, and that it's only a bug or an oversight that it was allowed to be used on non-NTFS volumes at all. which is just bogus. But anyways, yes, Red announced a phone. Linus is going, oh, he's going for the sea salt. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Red is announcing a phone. It's a very, very expensive phone. Costing roughly, these are subject to change, either $1,595 for the titanium version or $1,195 for the aluminum version, which is just nuts. It's a 5.7-inch holographic display. It runs Android. The handset screen can seamlessly switch between traditional 2D content and holographic 3D content, such as games. It will support Hydrogen 4 view content, a file type that Red has produced. And content will be stored via the Red channel, which allows users to stream holographic games and movies. That is nuts. Red is saying that it may struggle to fill orders, very unsurprisingly, due to the display production limitations of making like this holographic display and stuff that can support Hydrogen 4 view content.
They're not telling us almost anything about specs.
Nope.
We can assume that the camera will be pretty cool.
Yeah, if you look at the picture, which you should be able to get by jumping in there.
I had it open here.
The camera is fairly prominently displayed up at the top there.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like it's made. Actually, it does look reasonably thin. I like the grip on the side.
If you compare to the size of
cool.
yes, I like the grip on the side too. If you compare to the size of the headphone jack, it doesn't look that thick.
Nope.
There's some type of docking port style thing on the bottom near where the Type-C is. There's a huge red logo on what looks like...
That's their Limo connector.
Yeah, okay.
So this right here looks like it's to attach it so that... so they're not telling us a lot about specs, like in terms of processor.
Could it act as a display for your camera then?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
They're advertising that you can use it as a display for a Red camera.
Okay.
So that's assuming you want to spend the $200 for the cable and the $200 for the bracket that sits on that
nice.
that dock.
Yes, Red. There you go.
And the one for your camera. So $600. $200 each for those parts. I actually have another... You heard it here first, folks. I have another Holy Shit episode coming featuring an overpriced Red product.
Dude. If you could get infinite Holy Shit videos. Just buy every single thing that Red has.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't even know if this phone's going to be a review. I bought one, by the way. So I bought one, not because I plan to keep it. I plan to flip it.
Oh yeah.
But I bought one so that we can do a video on it, because...
But go back real quick.
Red doesn't sample for jack.
One thing I wanted to point out is, like, the phone's on kind of a weird angle and stuff, but you can kind of figure out how big that Red Digital Cinema Hydrogen logo thing is.
Yep.
And that looks like a relatively similar size to the camera that's up at the top. So that camera is huge.
It's also a little hard to tell from the perspective, but this looks lower profile than this heatsink here.
It looks like a raised
which
heatsink.
looks below that,
Yeah.
which also still has a camera bump.
Yeah.
So that camera might be like dope AF.
Pretty massive, which is cool, actually. That's really cool, because as of right now, I play one game on my phone. I use it for messaging services, mainly email, and I take
camera.
photos. That's pretty much it.
All right. Blah, 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 some boring legal battle, some other thing, and I think that's pretty much it for the WAN show.
Hooray!
So thank you guys very much for tuning in, and if you were wondering, if you're not already signed up for Floatplane, what's on Floatplane right now, we're going to go through it.
Yes, very good.
Dying. So on Floatplane now is the Mezzanine non-update. The office is in shambles.
That was actually kind of interesting.
The permits have stalled. Construction is not moving forward at the rate that we would have liked right now. And everything around here is in such horrendous condition that it is killing me.
It's a little bit of a behind-the-scenes look at what it's like to work basically in a construction zone.
Yep.
Trying to film professional videos.
You know, the funny thing is,
while increasing production quality.
The feedback on our videos lately has been great.
Speaking of which, where's that one video that I like a lot? There it is. Okay, so this video, turning scrap electronics into gold bars, is like
worth signing up for Floatplane Club over.
It's freaking amazing. It's one of my favorite videos of any kind from any creator that I've watched in a while. And I had no idea that it was coming. And I'm not just saying that. Like, if you wait till it comes on YouTube, that's fine. Watch it. It's an amazing video. But I would suggest checking it out on Floatplane. It'll look better anyways and sound better. So there's that.
Yeah.
But it's an amazing video. It doesn't feel necessarily 100% like a lot of the content that we make.
Yep.
It's much more like deep dive into something really interesting and informative. It's a very professional piece. I think it's super cool.
There are no dick jokes.
No, which is like
we also
weird.
reviewed what is hands down the best value gaming notebook we've ever checked out. So this is the Predator Helios 300. We've got our review of EK Waterblocks' aluminum gaming products. I say gaming products, water cooling products, but of course you can water cool a gaming machine. Tech quickies, phone tethering as fast as possible, and why does your internet connection randomly stop working? This is a banging video.
Oh, yeah. The intro to this is fantastic.
The ultimate DIY arcade machine guide. So that's the arcade machine that is behind us right now.
You should blow it up and play it.
Just
the little intro bit.
I want to tease them.
All right.
We checked out the Main Gear Omen X, like the most amazing looking gaming machine we have ever reviewed.
Yeah.
This thing is unbelievable. Like, just the attention to detail. Oh,
you give Main Gear like basically an unlimited budget and tell them to water cool things with hardline, and it'll look amazing.
Yeah, I know, right? We've got our Asus Zephyrus review is up. So that's the thinnest GTX 1080 gaming laptop. Mezzanine Update 8, the fire department intervenes. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Straight up not clickbait. And then Deadmau5's studio tour actually just went up on YouTube. So that's everything that's up on Floatplane right now, but not yet up on YouTube. You know, we've actually, even after Scrapyard Wars, interest in Floatplane. Like, people seem to be feeling like it's a pretty good value.
Yeah.
We've lost some subs, which we knew, because like, Scrapyard Wars hype. But we're actually gaining new ones at the same rate that we're bleeding them already.
Which is pretty cool.
Which is actually really cool. So I'm just going to post that in Twitch chat where you guys can go sign up if you want to. And that's pretty much it. Are you out of here right now, or did you want to do a short Floatplane progress stream?
I can do that, yeah.
Sure, why don't we do a short one? Okay. So, intro, blah, blah. Oh, whoops. There we go. I'm recovered now. Yes, what do you need from me? Thumbnail? Where do you want to shoot it? Okay. Go ahead and fire it up. We're going to do an after party stream, but just a short one. Yeah. And I'll just run over there. I'll take the thumbnail with you, and then I'll come back.